they come out clean.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Birds in the Buckets. I am Rashad Milligan here with my co-host Malik Brown. Malik, how you doing today?
Doing good, brother. Doing good. Good Sunday. Good Sunday. How we living?
Oh man, you know I can't complain. I can't complain. Just finished up the academic year over here, so it's now summer. It's now officially summertime. Yeah, clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. Love it, love it, love it. And also you guys know that we brought back my guy Josh Bolton. Josh, what the heck, good man?
Bolton.
It's still New York all day. I'm gonna be repping. It's all good. Got my work hat on, but we still repping New York. But hey, at the end of the day, I'm a fan of the game, so I'm coming with my perspective from a fan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we decided to bring back Josh on. He wanted to come back on. I was like, man, you know what I'm saying? You always got to have that different perspective, like he said, outside of people who just, like, literally, he's watched every Knicks game. Malik and I have watched majority of the Hawks games this season. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Since we last recorded, a lot has changed. The Hawks ended the series with Josh and his Knickerbockers. And they ended that in 5 games. Clint Capella said, "You want to be tough and physical? You can be tough and physical too. And I'm gonna send you on vacation. So what you gonna do about it?" And then he sent them on vacation, and it was pretty sad. Pretty sad. Julius Randle, first of all, goes. Let's talk a little bit about the Knicks before we get into Game 1. Julius Randle, the fans chant in Atlanta. Josh was at one of the games in Atlanta. They chant overrated, and usually, if you're a great player, you use that as fuel to play one of the better games of your career and go to the crowd and like, oh, am I overrated now? Like, that's what you're supposed to do. Julius Randle never got that opportunity in Atlanta. They chanted overrated, and he just proved that they were correct. I love her. But we all know what happened in the regular season. We all know how the Knicks look. We all know how they got that 4th seed. We all know that the Knicks, if you are some type of respectable NBA fan of the game, you know that the Knicks are legit. And you know that Julius Randle is much improved from, previous years. Even though his stats have always kind of been the same, he's always been good on the stat sheet. He has just a larger impact on the game nowadays. And those 5 games aren't indicative of the season he had. Josh, I'm handing it to you, man. Closing series, wrapping thoughts, and everything before we move on to Game 1.
First and foremost, got to give credit where credit is due, man. The Hawks, man, they showed up. They showed up and played like a team who wants to be in the playoffs. They showed up, and everybody who gets paid to do and play their role showed up and did their role. That's one thing I got to give to the Hawks. And then also, with that being said, Trae Young, man. Trae Young is here. He established himself. He is, like, evolving into a superstar. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who can average 25, 26, 20 – well, I think he's averaging, 29 in the playoffs right now, 29 and 10. That's superstardom. I mean, say what you want. Trae Young is just showing you the type of player that he can be, and it's great to see that for Hawks fans. It's tough, and it sucks to watch it when he's doing it against your team. But I'm a realist, man. I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. It's great to see it against another team. Him doing that to Philly today was wow. But as far as the Knicks, man, we weren't supposed to be here. In my opinion, we're about a season or 2 ahead of time of where everybody was thinking. Where we should have been. But, going into the series based on everything they showed us in the regular season, I definitely thought they were going to take the Hawks. Myself, I was saying, Knicks in 5 or 6. Turned around. I mean, Nate McMillan showed us who, the coach he can be. And the Hawks show who the players they can be. They really look like a threat right now. I mean, at least to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. But as far as that series, the better team prevailed. Definitely, expose some of the holes that the Knicks have, but the Knicks will be back, man. They got a young core. They got $60 million to spend. They got, I think, 5 picks or 7 first-round draft picks in the next 2 seasons to either draft players to add to the team or flip those picks for, better pieces, because I think the Hawks exposed having people who can hoop, multiple people who can put the ball on the ground and go get you a basket is important, and that's what the Knicks don't have. So we'll be better as a team. Shout out to the Hawks. That's what I got for you.
For sure. I think honestly, it was a letdown for me. The whole series in general, I thought it was really going to be like a little back and forth thing going on. I mean, the theatrics were wonderful. It really kept the Knicks like relevant in the series, of course, like with all the chants, of course, and then the physical play and everything that kind of really kept the series like going. But as far as like play, it was kind of lopsided from the beginning, honestly. I mean, even the game the Hawks lost, it just seemed like the Hawks had their number like in every 5 games. I mean, you take away that one bad quarter and you possibly see a sweep. But like you said, I mean, the Knicks did, like Rashad said, this series in general doesn't even shouldn't sum up what the Knicks did this regular season. Like, they still had a good season. They were still 4th in the Eastern Conference for a reason. I mean, Randle did not play like he played in the regular season, and RJ Barrett didn't either. I mean, it was a couple players that didn't live up to the moment, but like at the end of the day, they're still young. Like, these were both still young teams coming in, so you can't give them too much crap for it. But I do see New York staying around a little bit longer. I don't know what they need specifically to do. I mean, I would think the first thing to do is maybe get another point guard. But other than that, I think other than that, we'll see. Like, both of these teams, Hawks and Knicks, they're both on the rise. I mean, of course, people had expectations of the Hawks going into making the postseason, but nobody thought the Knicks would be here. So that's already you should already give them a clap for that. They exceeded expectations. So good series.
Gotta give credit where credit's due, though. Before we move on, man, Hawks, I mean, they struggle with injuries and everything, and the Hawks fans that I know, he was telling me, man, just wait till you see this team when they're fully healthy. And it just so happens they got not 100% healthy, but, as good as they're going to get in the playoffs, and they didn't take too much time to get right back to where they should have been. I mean, Bogey stepped up and played his role. Collins played his role. Hunter played his role. I mean, and they're still doing it, man. And it's actually crazy and fun to watch because it's a young team, man. Y'all re-up on John Collins. I mean, it's the right numbers. You already got Bogey locked in. Gallo's going to be locked in. I mean, this team, the Hawks team, is going to be a while for a long time. Just interested in seeing how far they go in this playoff series because let's believe they're going to build upon it.
So for sure. So shoot, let's just dive into it. Second round matchup. We got Hawks versus Philadelphia 76ers. Couple storylines even before the game started. So apparently, I think maybe game 4 of the first round, Philly was in Washington. Embiid partially tore his meniscus, and he was out that next game. But since then, it's kind of been up in the air if he will be playing or not. And I mean, it was kind of hard to even judge. I saw a lot of people saying, if Embiid doesn't play, Hawks are going to win. And then I mean, of course, if Embiid is healthy, then the Hawks have a harder challenge, of course. But Embiid ended up playing. Hunter was a big surprise for the Hawks. Well, he did not play. He came up questionable on the injury report yesterday. And I mean, he played all 5 games against the Knicks. He looked good. And then you get a break from Wednesday to Sunday, and it just seems like something went wrong. So that's definitely something to look out for as well, because I feel like they'll definitely need him. But just get into the game in general. Back and forth game maybe for the first 3 minutes. Then after that, the Hawks just took off. Trey Young did his thing. I think Trey had like 12 points maybe in the first quarter. Like, he wasn't missing. And then after that, everybody else started hitting. You had Bogey hitting. The bench came in and provided a boost. You had Lou Williams going crazy. You had Herder doing his thing. I don't think Gallo did much, but I mean, just the fact that the bench came in and extended the lead was big for them. That went on for maybe the first 3.5 quarters, and then, of course, well, not even of course. I mean, I think the Hawks maybe had like as much as a 24-point lead, if I'm not mistaken. Philly cut that down to at least down to 3 points, like with 3 minutes left. Three minutes left, they kind of cut that whole lead down. And I know Hawks fans were kind of jittery for a minute because it looked like they were going to do the typical Atlanta thing. But they ended up they stayed strong. Bogey hit a 3 to put them up 6. I think kind of after that, like I think the Hawks kind of just went away after that. So the game, it was 128 to 124. Final stats: Trey Young finished the game with 35 points, 10 rebounds. Embiid does not look like he has a meniscus tear. He ended the game with 39 points, 9 rebounds. So, what are y'all thoughts on this game one?
First of all, man, it's just like I was saying with the Knicks, man. It's crazy to see the Hawks show up. And it's not like, oh, it's a slow start. We got to get it going. They're right on it. Game one in Philadelphia, they show up and they play their game. I mean, what the Hawks did, I mean, shout out to Travis Schlenk. They were able to put together a team that of guys who can put the ball on the court and get you easy baskets. I mean, guys who can get to their spot, guys who, when they get open shots, they'll knocking them down. All those things are backbreakers, man. Not every team has a guy who can, you can kick it out to the side alongside of Trae Young, who can go get his own. You know what I'm saying? Put him in an ISO situation if you want to. That's not even their game.
Hold on, fellas. Man.
It's a smart player who's an offensive threat.
Yo. We got a special guest in the building, man. Hey, someone stand up right now, man. Hey, hold on, John. Hey, hold on, man. We got a special guest. Hey, man. Hey,
Bro.
turn the camera on, man. We got a special guest in the building right now. This is a legendary moment. This is a legendary
Let them know
moment.
where you are, bro.
Hold on.
How you turn the camera on, bro?
Man,
There you go.
Hey, 5-0 viral movie. Hey, man. Hey, we got the celebrity in the crib, man. Hey, man.
Still on.
Yeah, hey, let the people know who you are, man. And let's just start off with that.
My name Marquis though, bro. This is my girl. She went to the game too.
She went viral too.
I didn't know all that was going on, bro. My phone was dead the whole game. So I'm like, damn. The people in the game coming up to me, like showing me like, hey, we on ABC. I'm like, damn, for real? I guess I was doing too much.
The city.
Bro, you want to know how I knew them folk dead?
What happened?
So it was like the third quarter. We blowing them out. You know what I'm saying? We blowing them out. These folk made a 3. I swear, bro, the arena didn't make no noise. Like, the Jumbotron was dead. They weren't doing no kiss cam, nothing. Bro, that shit was fun, though. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't expect the guys to come out and shoot like that, though. I thought they were gonna be like, you know how it was in New York. It was a grind. I thought it would be more of a grind, but they came out with a lot of energy. I don't know, was the confidence or
Marquis, you breaking up a little bit. They probably blowing you up right now.
The Hawks came out in the sea.
Hey, I'm trying to get off the Wi-Fi.
Am I on the Wi-Fi?
For
Get
sure.
off this.
And you went like you say, your girl went viral too, because someone was next. They were like, look at his queen next to her, so waving the towel, everything in support and stuff like that. I guess just talking about being that hot start and everything like that. I think it really kind of started with Bogey. Bogey made them first couple threes or whatever in the game. And that it was like contagious. Everybody else caught fire, started hitting the threes and everything like that. Y'all got anything else?
What I was saying, I think it's great to see Travis Schlenk's work, showing on the court, man. He signed a bunch of guys who are getting it done, man. The Hawks got guys who are putting pressure on the opposition, even against teams who are supposed to be quote unquote great on defense, and they are getting it done on the offensive end, man. Trey Young with the pick and roll, the option to either put up the floater, to toss the lob or to kick it out to somebody who's going to knock down a shot, I mean, that's big time, man. I'm interested in seeing how far that's going to take him because it seems to be unstoppable. They're making it look easy against teams who are supposed to be quote unquote great on defense. It surprised me with the Knicks. I thought it was going to be, they're going to have some trouble today with the lengthy 76ers, but they scored almost 130 points, you know what I'm saying? Like, or was it over 130? I mean, they scored over 130. And, you know, it's just cool seeing them getting it done.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things I saw, just what I've seen from the Hawks so far, like in these playoffs, is when the team gets on the run, they kind of neutralize it. Like they kind of have a counter move. And it was a lot of times I saw when, just besides that one run at the end of the fourth quarter, the Sixers had maybe 3 or 4 runs where it looked like they were going to get back in the game, but it was a shot that the Hawks hit, and it was like, okay, nope, they're not about to it's not about to happen. And I think it was maybe the end of the first half, it looked like they were on the run, and then I think maybe Herter, Trae, and somebody else hit it was like 3. I was like, and they ran it back up to like 20, 21 points. I was like, but that's what you got to do. That's what you got. And the Hawks have players that can hit those type of shots in those type of moments. So it's pretty nice to see that from them.
Yeah, we were talking about it a lot before the playoffs or whatever, what to expect from the Hawks. And I think, you pretty much saw it today. Like I always point back to that one moment when you're like, how loud is the arena going to be? What is the home court advantage like? And then what's kind of the Hawks ceiling, like it just as a team? And it goes back to that Milwaukee Bucks game at the end of the regular season. They were down probably about double digits, and then they lost that contest at home. That's the only game they lost in the MLK jerseys, by the way, on TNT a couple weeks ago prior against the Bucks, and they lost by like 30 or 20 or something like that. And then so they're down by double digits again, fourth quarter, and then Bogey hits a 3, and then Lou goes crazy. And then they went 7 threes in a row to swing a 10-point deficit to a 15-point lead or something like that. And that to me was I was like, yo, the Hawks have the ability to do this. That wasn't even Trae. That was, just Bogey and Lou. So you have Bogey and Lou, and then there was another night where Bogey and Gallo hit 7 threes each, and that set a franchise record for, amount of teammates, both hitting 5 or more threes in the same game for the Hawks. So, you saw the potential there of their ceiling, what it could be and everything like that throughout the season and those couple glimpses. But, you didn't get to really see it against the Knicks. It was just kind of the Hawks just kind of wrestled with them. And, like we talked about going into the series, the more talented team won. And this game against Philly, when you're going against an equally talented, a little bit more talented team, because you have an MVP candidate as opposed, is different because you have to catch fire. You have to be at your A game. Like you see, they were at their A game, played their best game, and they still almost lost. So you had to be at that level constantly or whatever. And I think, we saw the best of the Hawks today. And we also saw, just kind of a reason why they are underdogs in this series and continue to be underdogs.
I will say, though, man, you said this is the best the Hawks could play. The 76ers showed up and kind of played their games too. Though, at times it looked bad. Don't get it twisted. It definitely looked bad. But when you get Joel Embiid giving you 39 points and you get other guys, giving you not crazy performances, but decent performances, the 76ers kind of shows you what they got, not to the best extent. But, the fact that the Hawks hung around, it just shows, playoff time, you got to show up. And that's one thing the Hawks, they've been pretty consistent, man. Not their best games, but they're playing at a level to get wins. So, as long as you can get those W's, that's all that matters. Grabbing one in Philly is huge, big time.
Do you see anybody, Malik and Josh, do you see Atlanta winning another one in Philly in this series?
I think it's going to be tough for sure. But, shoot, the Hawks won 2 in New York. That's probably one of the most hostile environments you can win a game in my opinion. So just for them to go out there and do that,
I would say the most.
This you got to prepare.
Yeah, I would say the most.
Yeah,
and,
probably.
To be honest, and this is not to make any Hawks fans mad, but I think New York, they definitely have the best fans in the world because New York fans, like, you know, I grew up with Josh, so it was like literally when they had Starberry and you know, Eddie Curry, Jamal Crawford, and they were the worst team like in the history of existence. And like Isaiah Thomas was a coach and Isaiah Thomas was the GM, like, and they were really bad. Like, Josh still came to school every day. Yeah, Knicks, Knicks, like, you know, like it was this other, you know, shout out to my boy Khalil Slater, like in Valdosta freshman year. You know, the Knicks were actually good, you know, because it was Knicks tape days, you know. So that was the year with Chris Copeland and stuff like that, and Mike Woodson. And, you know, he would just talk about the Knicks after every win, like, Knicks, we back, Knicks. And, like, you know, I looked it up, and I'm like, dang, they haven't won a championship since like the 70s. Like, and the fan base, they talk about them like they're like the Celtics or something. And then, you know, but it's just that pride, man. It's that pride in that brand. They literally have the best fans. I would say Detroit's probably up there too, because like they literally sold out every Pistons game for like a whole decade, and they were in the middle of the biggest economic drought or whatever in the United States, and they were still selling out games. So I would say those two are like the two best fan bases just because of how much support they give in their teams, even in down years.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a good side of that. There's also a bad side. I mean, one thing I will say that I wasn't actually a fan of that I saw during the playoffs, especially when the Hawks were playing the Knicks. I mean, when you got Trey Young, I understand, you know, it's a opponent, other team rivalry and everything, but maybe everybody's just not a fan of the game like I am. But Trey Young was busting our tail. So, I mean, for the fact that they kept the whole Trey Young's balding and all that other crap, I mean, you got the good and you got the bad. The dude spitting on the dude, I mean, it's definitely a bad look on the fan base. It's never a point to where, like, you know, the sport gets serious enough to where you just, like, you know, you continue to trash on the other person's game. I mean, they busting you, they're busting you. Me personally, I give respect where it's due. But like you said, man, it's some ride or die guys. It's just like, man, if you're an opponent, it's like, you know, it's forget about you the whole way. But either way, it's all good.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I mean, but you know, back to Malik's original point of just, you know, that's the most hostile environment you can play in. And the fact, like you said, Trey Young's balding, Trey Young spit on the man, and he still did what he did. Like kid is different, bro. Kid is different. And you know, like there's always like, because I remember, I think it was probably game two. So, you know, game one, they did all the chants, right? And he did all the talking afterwards, and it was all over social media, and it went viral. And then, you know, so New York fans are even more mad. I'm like, oh, I hope Trey, they come out, boo, Trey, ooh, deep three, logo. I'm like, oh my goodness, this kid is
Making
different.
it look easy, man.
Yeah, but you know, like before we ooze over too much over Trey Young and stuff, the goalpost has been moved again, gentlemen. By the way, Trey Young, you know, Josh brought it up at the beginning. I looked it up. 29 points and 9.8 assists in these playoffs. So that's what he's doing in 36 minutes a game, just to get the numbers correct. But the goalpost has been moved again. I don't think that there are many players. Maybe Devin Booker. Devin Booker's probably in that boat. Who else would be in that boat? I can't think of anybody else right now, but Devin Booker for sure. Of players who the goalpost gets moved for every single time they prove you wrong, like just so people, I guess, can feel some like God complex that they're never wrong. But the latest narrative now with Trey obviously making the second round before the guy he was traded for, one of the guys he was traded for, Luka Doncic in Dallas, is what if Luka had Trey's support and help? So I just want to know, first of all, you all's thoughts on kind of like this new kind of thing that's been brought up.
It's BS. I just, because I mean, for like what, even last year they were like, I don't know, they just hype up Luka like so much, bro. Like it's just the praise that he's been getting since he came in the league, like just everything. And now it's like, okay, now Trey's winning. Now it's like, okay, we still got to find a way to get Luka in this. We still got to find a way to hype him up. So let's find. Okay, perfect. If Luka had Trey Young supporting cast, he would have got past the first round. It was like, come on, bro, because it seemed like last year was like it was different. It was like if Trey Young had had Luka's then it'll be straight. And Trey don't have no help or whatnot. Luka got all the help, but Luka still lost last year. And they had the same team as they had last year this year, and they still lost to the same team. So, I mean, bruh, at some point, first of all, we all know the Luka Trey thing is going to be there forever. Like, they're always going to be attached to each other, but the way they're doing it is like OD. It's OD at this point. Like, it's just every single time one of these players does something, the other player has to be attached to it. Come on, bro. Like, just let the two dudes hoop, let them do them separately. And we just going with our day. So, the goalpost has definitely been moved again. I'm not a fan of it because I'm tired of seeing it, honestly, now. Because it just seems like they're just trying to find any way to get Luka in some type of argument. But, he hasn't won a playoff series yet. It's just plain and simple. Trey has finally – the one time Trey gets in is the one time Trey gets past the first round. So, you can't argue with that.
For me, from the outside perspective, not being a fan or somebody who follows the Hawks really hard, just the comparison between the two players, I feel like it's hard to just straight up black and white compare the two. Because really a team success shouldn't be reflective on like those two individual players. It's kind of like, off topic, but it's kind of just like how some people compare Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Michael Jordan. It's just like, it's hard to make the comparison, especially when you want to bring things like rings or like team wins or team success in the playoffs, because we're comparing the individual with like team things. So it's the same thing with Luka versus Trae Young.
Josh, I have a question to that. How do you feel about Brady? How do you feel about Brady and Brady's greatness, especially like this championship in particular, where he goes to Tampa and he builds a super team? Like, he literally brought like the biggest names in football to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And when kind of Peyton Manning did the same thing in Denver, and they carried him to Super Bowl, it was the second one doesn't count for Peyton Manning. Like, how do you feel about Tom Brady's last ring and Tom Brady's greatness, I guess?
Well, with Tom Brady specifically, just as someone who grew up playing football, I love the game of football, just like I love basketball. I see it just depends on how you look at the argument. A lot of people look at it from a championship perspective when it's just like in basketball. A championship is a team accomplishment. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't – yes, Tom Brady is great, but it takes a team effort to win these things. But, as a quarterback in the game, you're always going to get the praise. But if you look at every team that Tom Brady has played on when he has won, it's been great teams, man. It's been great teams. And, take Tom Brady and put him on my New York Jets right now. I guarantee you, without any additions or anything, you just slap Tom Brady on the Jets' current roster right now, they don't win a Super Bowl or even come close, and they don't become contenders. But every team that Tom Brady has played on that has, got to that point to being a contender, it's been great teams, offense and defense. But, I think it's similar to basketball again. So, what I was going to get to as far as the Luka and Trey Young thing is that I feel like the Hawks have done a better job of surrounding Trey Young with pieces that match his game to get him to where he is today. And then also it comes to luck. The Hawks aren't playing the Clippers, two max players, you know what I'm saying? But, it is what it is. It's hard to make that comparison. I feel like they're both great players. But as far as when you try to compare like each other's game, I don't know. If you were to ask me who won the trade today, I still to this point feel like it's even because it's working out for both teams. Both teams got better. And I think even if you switch the roles, you still get two great players on two teams.
I honestly don't even care about who, quote unquote, won the trade, because it's like you can even say like Luka's a better player, right? But the thing to me is like, as long as the thing that I'm mad about is like the way that people made it seem like Bill Simmons flat out called it the worst trade in the history of the NBA, or, whatever he said. And there's like so many people who would call it such a bad trade and just all these, I don't know, like it was like the amount of disrespect, like Malik kind of alluded to it earlier. of just like, like they praise Luka to be like so great. And even now, like I just had the conversation earlier this week, and the person I was talking to was like, Luka's gonna be a top 10 all-time player. And it's like, that's something that I always hear. And it's like, and Trey's just going to be an all-star. And I was like, he was just an all-star last year. He averaged 30 and 10. Like, do you not pay attention? And it gets annoying. It gets annoying. Like, it's like the goalpost always moves. He can't win. He wins. And then, you talk about the Clippers. Like, he didn't face the Clippers. Okay, well, he faced Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid today and Tobias Harris. And he won. So, I mean, like, it is what it is. I just don't get the movement goalposting. I guess another part of this discussion, the obvious elephant in the room. I got to do it, y'all. I got to do it, fellas. What part do you think race plays in this?
Man, race with me. I mean, at the end of the day, man, it's hooping, man. Where everybody, it's about getting wins, getting buckets. So I don't look too much at at race here. I think it's just more of. I just think it's more of showmanship. I mean, you look at ESPN, and you can look throughout the regular season for both seasons. You just see Luka Doncic going crazy here, and as if you're a casual fan, you just watch ESPN, you just see somebody going crazy highlights, getting W's, hitting a bunch of game-winning shots in that moment. And I mean, also you can look at his stats too, but in that moment, you're just like, dang, man, this man, Luka, this dude's hitting game-winning shots, dragging his team, beating all these superstars. He looks like a stud, while, Trey Young got his highlight plays and all and everything, but, the Hawks are struggling last year, so it's happening, but it's on like a bad team. So I think that kind of goes into it. But as far as the race thing, I mean, it's America. It's always going to be some race tied into it. Don't get it twisted. And Luka's skin is definitely it's equivalent to like a white America, even though he's a foreigner. But it's just like, I don't know. I wouldn't say too much of it, but there's always going to be a sprinkle of some, if at all.
I'm not gonna look.
Hey, give me your perspective. Give me your perspective.
Just my response in general. I mean, look, y'all remember when Kennedy Carter said that thing about Sabrina?
Yes, bro.
Yeah.
Yes, bro. Hey, background. Okay. Hey, Kennedy. Kennedy Carter is she's a guard for the Atlanta Dream. She was a rookie last year. She came out of Texas A&M, number 3 pick of the WNBA draft in 2020. Her godfather is Jason Terry. I wrote a great story for her on P Street Hoops if you want to check it out. Self-promotion. Kennedy, what she said, she was pretty much balling last year in the Wubble. The Wubble was the name for the WNBA bubble last year. And, she was pretty much balling in the Wubble. She was like the leading rookie of Rookie of the Year. But coming in, Sabrina Ionescu, who was the big star from Oregon, Sabrina Ionescu was on SportsCenter every single night. It was national news story when she decided to return to school her senior season after denying it her junior season because she could have been the number 1 pick coming out of junior year. She became really tight with Gigi Bryant and Kobe Bryant. And then once they died, she spoke at their public memorial service in a sold-out Staples Center. So, Sabrina Ionescu is just a big celebrity type. She's on all the commercials and stuff like that. She got all the hype coming in. She was the number 1 pick for New York. So Kennedy Carter had probably statistically like the better season up to that point. They face each other and going into the game, Kennedy says, yeah, it's very frustrating when one player gets all of the attention because other players are working just as hard as him and they're playing just as good, if not better. And then she said, and, the WNBA, we're doing all these things right now, promoting positivity and including with the Black Lives Matter initiative. She pretty much said, Sabrina Ionescu's white, if you couldn't tell from her last name. Kennedy Carter's black, if you couldn't tell from Kennedy, I guess. But, she's pretty much just saying, like, the media is kind of hyping up this white girl as opposed to, all the other black girls who are doing great, who came up with her and are in the same draft class as her. So that's where he's talking about the Kennedy Carter situation. Okay.
But yeah, I don't want to. It's definitely not all race to me because at the end of the day, Luka is a great. Like, I mean, he's shown it. He's shown it for 3 years now. Like, the dude can ball. Like, straight up, he can ball. But of course, like Josh said, it's America. Like, I feel like race is going to be in it a little bit, but it's not the whole. It's not the whole like 9 yards for sure. Like, for sure, Luka has been playing great since he's gotten the league, but Trey has been playing good as well. I just feel like the difference is, I mean, Luka had more success earlier than Trey, of course, making it to the playoffs before him or whatnot. But other than that, like, I don't really think it's that big of a race thing, honestly.
I think it's funny how they try to compare the teams now. I mean, Luka's always been on a better roster, even since the get-go, than Trey Young, in my opinion. But hey, it is what it is.
You think that this is the only season where the Hawks had a better roster, in my opinion, than the Mavericks. I mean, like, no question right now the Hawks have a better roster, but last year he didn't have a better roster, and the year before that he didn't have a better roster. And it's like people were like, the Hawks are still in the lottery, and he was competing for a playoff his first season. He still had Dirk on the team. Dirk didn't do nothing, but he still had Dirk on the team. And whatever that happened. But yeah, man, I think like you guys said, like, I think there is a sprinkle of race in there, but like it's definitely not all of it because, like you guys said, Luka can ball. I personally think, if you're talking about all around player, just kind of due to rebounds because he's taller, Luka was probably the better player right now, but Trey is still a star. Like, it's not like it goes back to my thing again. It's not like this big disparity thing, and like there's a lot of people on here with blue checks on Twitter who are still like fighting to their death to make them seem like they're not wrong. It's okay to admit that you're wrong. Swallow your pride, swallow your ego, and admit that you're wrong. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But it's like they come up with a different thing. Trey doesn't have on his shoelace tied this way. Like, it's just whack to me. It's whack. It's whack, bro. But yeah, go ahead, Boateng. I think you're about to say something.
I was gonna say, I mean, you mentioned a star, but I want to give him his props, man. I even been saying this on Twitter. Anybody, you mentioned his numbers, 29 and basically 10 in the playoffs. You're doing that in the playoffs. That's superstar numbers. You are helping your team win in the playoffs. So, I mean, this is where your legacy is going to be, like, made in the playoffs, and he is showing that he's a superstar. It may not be like, I mean, he doesn't look like LeBron James or AD or any of these other players that are seen or as talked about as like superstars and superheroes in the league, but he is damn sure putting up those numbers to put him in that superstar range, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I just never understood because it was always like Rashad said. Luka's always had the better team, like since they got in the league, since they both been in the league. I mean, if you just look at what Trey was working with his rookie season, you would kind of be like, I mean, this team really isn't set up to win. But I mean, this year, like Rashad said as well, this year is actually like one of the years where he legit has a better team than Luka. So I mean, you would expect them to even like you would expect them to be better than what the Mavericks have been doing these past 2 seasons. So, and like Josh alluded to earlier, for the past 2 years, Luka has had to play 2 top two-way players. Like he's had to play like a team that was supposed to be like potential NBA champions or whatnot. I mean, of course, they failed to do that last year, but I mean, people still hyped them up this year. Not the same as last year, but they were still hyped up to an extent. But I mean, what do you expect? I mean, it was a 4-5 matchup at the same time too, but at this, like, I mean, I feel like the Clippers were clearly the better team than the Mavericks this whole entire series. It didn't look like it, especially at the beginning of the series when they were down 2-0. But I feel like the Clippers were always the better team.
Well, and then the Clippers also tanked to get the 4th spot. So I guess kind of
right.
Going back to the discussion of superstar, Josh drew out that superstar word. So I guess how many generational players do you think there are right now? And what do you think are and what do you think are the are the generational players in this new generation, I guess you could say?
Generational, in my opinion. Today, generational. Would Steph Curry count as generation, or he's the past generation?
He's past like anybody who's current. So like Steph, AD, like anybody AD and up.
I got you. Okay. I got you. So Luka Doncic for sure. He's gonna be leading the pack doing that. And then you got to throw Trae in there as well, just what he's doing if he can continue doing it. Now, say for instance, if next game come around and for the rest of the playoffs he start averaging like 8 points and 4 assists out of nowhere, then I guess you can definitely take it away. But it's shown, at least in the first round and the beginning of the second round, it's this high caliber player. He's giving you a 30-point double-double pretty much every night. And if you got somebody giving you a 30-point double-double, that's generational in my eyes. Other than that, there's really, Devin Booker, you got to say that as well. He's been doing the same thing, but if you want to count him, but other than that, because I'm looking at playoffs. I guess you can count regular season, but these guys are in the postseason and they're performing. So those three are the first three that come to mind as far as like new age players.
Jokic and Embiid. Well, because Jokic is like our age. He's like 26.
That's true. Definitely got to throw Jokic in there. Anybody he's a guard in the center's body, 7 foot, grabbing boards, running it down the court, dishing it, finishing at the rim, shooting the 3-ball. Definitely generational. So definitely got to throw Jokic and Embiid in there as well. Both of them are two great players. But that was just what came to mind. My bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely say Jokic and Embiid for sure. Honestly, I'm gonna put Giannis in there too. I don't think you can I don't know if you can find another Giannis.
Yeah, Giannis is our age. He's Jokic's age. I thought of that like exactly when I told Josh like Jokic's age. I was like, Giannis is our age too.
Yeah, Giannis. Of course, I would put Trae in there and Luka. I don't know about Book. I feel like you can find another Book. He brings a lot of scoring. Like I just feel like you can find another 6'6", 6'7" shooting guard. If you just get a bucket, like I feel like you can find another one of them. But what he's doing in the playoffs is good for sure. But other than that, around our age now, I can't really. I feel like that's really it. Like everybody. How old is Katie? Nah, Katie is past our generation, right? Katie
was drafted when I was like 2.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. So yeah. But those, I'm gonna keep them. I'm gonna keep those 5.
So all right, here's a player that both of y'all didn't say, Zion. So you guys Zion's no longer generational? Because coming out of Duke, Zion was the biggest thing since LeBron James.
I think Zion was a lot of hype. Granted, he's putting up a lot of numbers just in the system that they have, but when you watch Zion's game, it's just he's getting a lot of hustle points. So I wouldn't say generational talent. He's getting to the bucket. He's showing up ready to play. He's getting to it. He's giving you 30 points, for inside the perimeter every night. Well, not every night, for most of the nights for the most part. But I still think his game is very limited. I'm interested in seeing how he plays in the playoff setting where you got a team that can game plan for his game night in, night out. Because remember, Julius Randle was looking like, borderline, in that MVP range.
I was just about to ask you about the Zion Randle comparisons.
Yeah. Zion. What Julius Randle was giving you. Julius Randle is a less athletic version of Zion, in my opinion. But he obviously can shoot way better too. Don't get that twisted. But either way, what I was saying was Julius Randle showed out during the regular season. When you on and off, you're playing good and bad teams. Nobody has a focus on you. But when it gets to the nitty gritty and a team can game plan for you, for your team, and to stop your team from winning 4 games, we saw what happened to Julius Randle. I'm interested in seeing how a team would attack Zion Williamson in a playoff setting. So I wouldn't throw him in there yet until I see him when it matters.
If y'all don't know, y'all probably don't know. Ever since Zion got drafted, I've never been high on him. Never been high on Zion. And everybody that has talked to me about Zion can tell you the same thing. Like I've never just because I just feel like it was, of course, it was all hype. And then I just feel like if you're looking at his game now, it's just like, it's
Getting kind of disrespectful, ain't it? Said, hold on, hey. Oh, hey, the man made the All-Star team this year, man.
That's cool. That's cute. That's cute.
Hey,
But I
he,
mean,
at,
like,
he at home giving opinions like us.
no, I respect his game. Like, I respect it. But right now, it's just like, right now, it's athleticism and hustle. I'm gonna give him the benefit of doubt because I mean, bro, it's his second year in the season. Like, he's gonna get better somewhere. Like, his game is gonna improve. So what I'm saying now is probably gonna be dead in the next maybe 2-3 years because I'm pretty sure he might develop a jump shot. He may develop like a legit offensive game instead of just pounding, bullying dudes. Like, it's probably gonna work out in his favor. But as of now, it was just the hype that he was getting was like he was LeBron, like he was the next thing like LeBron, and it wasn't. He was nowhere near LeBron's type of level of like what he was doing. In my opinion, I'm just being honest. Like,
No, you're right. Hey, that's not a diss. That's not a diss. It's like when when you say LeBron isn't Jordan, and people take that as a diss. Jordan is the greatest player ever. So it's like, if you say you're not the greatest player to ever play the game, that's not an insult. Like, it's not an insult to say you're not. LeBron is top 10, top 5 in most people's rankings. Top 3, top 2 in a lot of people's rankings. That's not a diss to say you're not a top 2 player of all time.
Top 2, not 2 in my rankings.
I ain't gonna lie. All right. Hey. If y'all want a taste of it, because the Logan Paul fight about to start in 10 minutes from the time we recording this. If y'all want a taste of it, I got LeBron at 7. Here you go.
Please.
Jordan. Kareem. Wilt, Russell, Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James.
How do you rank them as individuals, or how does your ranking go as individual players?
So Jordan, he has everything. He has the individual and the team. Okay, next, Kareem. Kareem is literally still the NBA all-time leader in points. And the dude he played in a time they didn't even have the three-point shot. The fact that it's standing tall after all these years, especially with inflation, like teams score 200 points a night and no one is still caught Kareem. Okay, and there's more technology and just resources to be more sustainable and to be like LeBron and play 18 years at a decent level. Like Lou Will's in year 17. He's still playing at a decent rotational player level. Okay, 3. I have Wilt. I mean, just everything he did. Like a lot of people say, okay, but look at the time he played in. Okay, but look, he had his biggest nights, and the same goes for Russell against each other. He had his biggest nights against Bill Russell, and Bill Russell had his biggest nights against Wilt Chamberlain. That didn't happen against some white boys. You know what I'm saying? It didn't happen against George Mikan and all these John Havlicek to shoot the ball to underhand. You know what I'm saying? These happened against the other black dude who was 7 feet, and was built just like him and was very athletic. Wilt is a guy who was Olympian. He could run the floor, pass the ball like LeBron, bring the ball up the floor like LeBron, go coast to coast, get the block shot, take it all the way. That's stuff that you don't see. All we know is Big Dipper, 100 points, 55 rebounds. That's all we know from Wilt. When you actually sit down and watch his stuff and see how athletic he was, that's why I have Wilt number 3. Bill Russell is another extremely athletic guy who could have went to the Olympics for, things in track and field and stuff like that. Plus the fact that he just wins. Like, he plays team ball. A lot of people call him the greatest defender of all time. I haven't watched him in enough full games to call him the greatest defender of all time, but it's definitely not Draymond Green. Anyways, like the fact that he is there, and he led, the Celtics to that many titles. A lot of people will be like, yeah, but there are 8 teams. Still, to win 11 times, with 8 teams, I think that makes it even more difficult to win because, you have just better competition because it's fewer spots. It's like the WNBA. There's nobody in the WNBA who's won 11 championships. Like, no team, no franchise has done that yet. So that's why I have Bill Russell at number 11. Plus all the things that he kind of fought through, like, you know, the on and off the court stuff. It kind of just adds to his greatness, in my opinion. And then, you know, you have who I have number 5, Tim Duncan and Kobe. I had those two tied, but it was kind of just like Duncan is just kind of had like a cleaner slate. Like Kobe lost a couple of those years and stuff like that. And, you know, Duncan, just the big fundamental to do his greatness on a consistent basis. Kobe kind of like tailed at the end of his career. And Tim Duncan wasn't Tim Duncan the last year of his career, but he was still Tim Duncan in 2014. You could say that's because of injuries. True, but I mean, it is what it is. Part of the game. It's part of his story. Number 6, I got Kobe. Obvious reasons, 5-time champion, 2 times without Shaq. Yeah, just did it, man. And then, yeah, number 7. Oh, well, okay, all right. So now Kobe versus LeBron in the all-time debate. I'm a bit biased on that just because I've always been a Kobe over LeBron guy. Like, when we used to debate it in middle school, I used to always take Kobe over LeBron. But it's just, you know, kind of, I hate to say it. I hate to sound like Skip Bayless, but that killer instinct, like, it's just, like, that's just the thing, you know? Like, Kobe hasn't. LeBron, sometimes he shows it. He's shown it to me in a couple cases where I'm like, okay, you got it. But other times it's just like, it's just not. And it's not an indictment against LeBron. It's just if you were like, who would you start a team with, Kobe or LeBron? I'm starting with Kobe. Even though LeBron's a better all-around player, like naturally, he's just a naturally better passer and stuff like that, I'm still picking Kobe. Because Kobe has shown me that he can do it. If you put the ball in his hands and, like, go get me a W. LeBron has done it too. I remember the Detroit game in 07, overtime. I watched that when he scored 20 straight points in fourth quarter in overtime against Chris Webber. And them boys, I was in 7th grade. I remember watching it vividly. But I don't know. I just got Kobe in that situation. So that's why that's my top 7.
Mine is like really short. I mean, to be honest, I mean, since LeBron has been drafted, I mean, I would say probably from, I won't say since he's been drafted, but I would give LeBron the best player in the NBA. I mean, this is arguable, just also my opinion, but he's been the best player in the NBA. He's probably from 2007. I'll give you 2006 until probably right around 2019, in my opinion. I don't think anybody's been better than him. I think teams have been designing and getting together and putting together rosters to beat him, especially in the, like, you know, from 2010 on when he joined the Heat. There's literally been roster designs to beat LeBron James. And if you feel like you have an opposition to that, tell me. Just give me. I mean, every year.
2006, bro. That was the year Kobe Bryant in the first round of the playoffs against the Phoenix Suns, bro. When he dunked over Nash at one game, and then the other game at the end of regulation, he got the ball, dribbled down the court, hit the shot at the buzzer, took it into overtime, and then overtime, Kwame Brown tipped up. Kobe gets it. 2, 3, Kobe again at the buzzer, overtime. And then he does this on ABC with the white jerseys on. Are you serious? Kobe Bryant was the best player in the world in 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, and 2010 when he beat the Celtics.
You're a liar. Come on now. LeBron James, look at that Cavaliers team he brought to the championship early in his career, not the one that he beat he came back from a 3-1 lead.
Revisionist history. I will fight this to the grave. You had freaking Daniel Boobie Gibson, who scored. LeBron didn't hit those threes in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Detroit Pistons. Boobie Gibson blacked out, bro. Boobie Gibson literally got – who did he marry? Monica, Brandy? One of them singers. He married them off the strength of that series alone. He caught fire. He caught the blood of Jesus.
Hey, that's how he got his wife.
That's how he got his wife. He went crazy against the Pistons in the 07 Conference Final. He had about 33 points to clinch. And then and when they won the Eastern Conference Championship, who did LeBron give the little plaque to? He gave it to Daniel Gibson, and Daniel Gibson held it up, man. With little Bronny on his shoulder, you know what I'm saying? On his hip.
LeBron off that team, you don't get any of that. According to what you said, if you take LeBron off that team, Daniel Gibson doesn't probably even marry Monica, whoever. But
when did Kobe have a moment like that on the Lakers where it was like dang, Devin George really just blacked out, bro.
I mean, I can't name one. I can't name one. But I mean, that aside, individually, I'm taking LeBron, man. I don't want to get too caught up on this argument. You know what I'm saying? But it just depends on how you look at it. I look at it from individual, performances and statistics. I mean, LeBron James overall is the best player to me. I understand the championships and the record in the playoffs and all that stuff, but to me, those things come down to who you're playing on the team with. You mentioned 5 championships, 3 of those was with Shaq, of course. I think he got 2 with great assembled teams. Granted, he is gonna be the key piece to all of those championships, but that's a team thing. If they don't have a great team, it's not happening. I want to ask you this. I mean, this has nothing to do with the argument, but that the team the Cavaliers had when they came back from a 3-1 deficit, if you take LeBron off that team and insert Kobe Bryant, insert Michael Jordan, insert whoever you want, do they come back from 3-1?
Jordan does. Jordan does.
That alone, him leading that charge alone to beat probably one of the greatest assembled teams ever down 3-1, even though Draymond, the issues with Draymond missing games and all that stuff, that's definitely there. Don't get it twisted. But that's an amazing feat. When that happened, his numbers in those series, I mean, it was just like, okay, hey, man, this dude is here. He is definitely here. He's the one. But, hey, I get it. It's everybody's opinion. How do you feel, Malik?
I want to first say I commend Rashad for his top 7. I commend that because there's a lot of people out here that just be saying names, but they don't be giving the exact reason why they put him there. They just kind of just put him there. So I'm actually going to cut that. I'm going to cut that little 5-minute thing up, and I'm going to show it to my friends because we have this discussion a lot. Because I mean, y'all are like 26. I hate like 26, 27. Like y'all are.
Yeah, like
y'all older than mine.
Malik started watching basketball when LeBron went to the Heat. So.
Right, exactly, right. So, and that's when most of my friends started watching. So, I guess you can say in this conversation, I'm a casual because because all we argue about is, okay, who's better, Kobe, LeBron, or Jordan? Like, we don't ever go with we always be like, okay, Bill Russell, that was like 50, 60 years ago. We don't need to put him in that, or Kareem, but we kind of stay within those 3 dudes. So, but within those 3 dudes, I always say Jordan first, LeBron second, and then Kobe third. Just because the fact that LeBron has, as far as skill, I just feel like LeBron just does it all. And I mean, it's kind of hard because, okay, Kobe and Jordan are basically the same player. So, but it's just like MJ won more. So that's why I'm going to put him first, and I'm going to put LeBron there. But I mean, that's my argument. I can't go into depth like Rashad. It's just I haven't got that far yet.
One thing I will say to the Jordan thing, though, a lot of people, I mean, even some old heads in the barbershop that they throw this in because they was actually watching the game when it was happening. I mean, it is a what if statement. So a lot of people that I know, they like to discredit what if statements, but limb bias. Well, Michael Jordan was coming up with limb bias through college, and they were supposed to be 1 and 2, and the whole thing was there. Limb bias got drafted by the Celtics, and that kind of would have been between Larry Bird, limb bias, and I believe they had one other piece as well, if I'm not mistaken.
They had Robert Parrish, but
yeah.
I'm not. But he was kind of at the tail end of his career, at the end of the 80s. But he was a part of those great Celtics teams in the 80s.
Yeah, but what I was saying was, I mean, it is a what-if statement, but God rest his soul. If he didn't get the bad coke that one day and pass away, who knows what would have happened with Jordan. And also, when Jordan first got into the league, he wasn't with the best of players, and he definitely struggled. He struggled until that GM, they put together a really nice team to go with him, and that's when the success started happening. And don't get it twisted. When they got it together, they was riding them back. Bang, bang, championship, went to play baseball, came back, won it again, bang, bang. You know what I'm saying? They was definitely getting it in. But when Jordan left to go play baseball, a lot of people forget that same team, minus Michael Jordan, went back and won. I think they won over 50 games again. So it wasn't a bad basketball team.
How far did they go in the playoffs?
They didn't win. Don't get it twisted. They didn't win.
Did they at least make it to the conference finals? They were so good, right?
Come on. We don't get it twisted. I'm not saying Michael Jordan is bad. You know, you add Michael Jordan, that's going to always put you over the top. But my point was, he didn't win until he got teams. What happened when LeBron started getting teams? Granted, he didn't automatically start railing off wins and championships with that heat, but he got his rings. He got his rings with solid teams. And all I'm saying is both LeBron and Kobe, both Michael Jordan and Kobe, they won these rings on great teams. They were individual players, but like, you know, LeBron James, I mean, he didn't start getting on these teams till he started the whole big three thing. And then since then, it's just been like, you know, teams. And granted, his championship playoff record hasn't been like perfect or clean like those guys are, but he got his wins. But hey, that's neither here nor there.
You got to salute 10 in a row, bro. You got to salute 10 in a row. And I think, you know, for our generation, we have to salute greatness, you know, because this is the greatest of our that we've ever seen and will probably ever see in our time. You know, like the next kid who's next up and whatever, we're probably not going to see the greatest of his days. We saw the greatest of LeBron's time. And, you know, I mean, I know for me and Josh, like, we were 8 when LeBron was drafted. We pay bills now. You know, it's like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
That's real, bro.
So salute LeBron, bro. But hey, man, the Logan Paul fight is about to start. I appreciate it so much, y'all. We had to get y'all with that little surprise in the middle or whatever. Josh, man, coming on as always. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, brother.
Appreciate it, Josh.
Appreciate you as always. Great show, my guy. Thank you for holding it down while I was trying to get the fan on the show. Hey, make sure you guys subscribe to ATL Sports Unlimited. I think we're close to 1,000 subscribers. You guys have been, you know, supporting us and everything like that. Shout out to my man who was tweeting Malik about the show and stuff and asking us when we're going to come back. We appreciate all the love. All my friends and stuff that watch the show. Thank you guys for watching the show as well. Sign off, everybody. Everybody give your socials.
Well, I'll go ahead and start it off, man. I mean, it's nothing too crazy on my Twitter. I just share my opinion on sports because I love sports. I'm real active in the football season. I love basketball, but the Knicks, you know, that season's over. But either way, I'll be watching. If you want to follow me here, you can go on Twitter at JoshX2_.
You can find me, as always, on Twitter, Instagram at _MalikATL.
You guys know where to find me, man. Hey, Kennedy Carter's leg sleeve. Let's get it.
Then they come out clean.